Hi, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. This is gonna be my January TBR. Okay, it's a new year, it's 2022. Still getting used to saying that. This is gonna be the video where I talk about the books that I'm planning to read in the coming month, and I decided to go the same route as in December. If you saw my video last month, I decided to cut down my TBR to 5 books, and that really helped. Did I read all of them, like the 5 that I chose? No, I did not. I started 4 of them. Of those 4, I softly DNF'd 2, meaning I hope I will get back to them at some point. And I started another one, and I'm hoping that I can finish it early this month. I started and finished one of them and loved it, and I didn't even get to the last one. So was it a success? I'm not sure, but it did really help me when there was a moment of panic, of not knowing what to read. I went back to that list and I was like, okay, I wanted to prioritize these. And even when I noticed that I didn't really enjoy one of them, it helped me also to say, okay, I'm gonna put this aside for now and focus on other books, because that's like a new thing that I'm trying, to put down the books, even if it's only for like a while, or DNF for good, just to make sure that I enjoy what I'm reading. So I mood read a lot, but in the end I did get back to this list eventually. And the fact that there were only 5 books that I said I wanted to get to really helped in me not getting overwhelmed with the choices. So that was a long way of me saying that I want to do that again in January. But like any good plans, this got derailed very quickly when there were read-alongs announced. Either by Booktubers in general, like open to the public, or by the Booktubers that I follow on Patreon. So we have 5 books additional to the 5 that I'm planning to read from my TBR. 5 books that are read-alongs or book club picks that I'm hoping to get to. These 5 that I'm gonna talk about today are books that I have been meaning to get to anyway. One of them I got as a present this December, so that's perfect. Others I heard a lot of great things about, but I'm not sure if I would ever pick it up myself to just read by myself, so it's gonna be great to just talk to other people about it. I'm gonna stop being vague about it. I'm gonna talk about the 5 books that I'm planning to read alongside all of you. So the first 2 books that I'm gonna talk about are book club picks picked by the Patreons of Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin. I'm gonna link his channel and everyone else's channel that I mentioned today down in the description box. I'm one of his Patreons, and there are always 2 books that we read during the month. One is middle grade and one is YA or adult. And the middle grade pick for January is The Hat Makers by Tamsin Merchant. This is actually perfect because this I got for Christmas. I got this for Christmas, and a couple of days later it was announced that this is going to be not only the book club pick for the Patreons of Gavin's, but also the book club pick for Middle Grade Monthly, which is a book club that he does with Jade from JDB Reads. They have a live show every month, so I'm really glad that I can check this one out right away. It's supposed to be amazing, and this is just a beautiful edition of it. This is the hardback, and this is just beautiful. So that's the first of the picks for Gavin's book club, and the other one is adult, and we're reading the first book in the Greenbone saga, which is Jade City by Fonda Lee. And this I've heard great things about. Everyone's been raving about it. There is another read-along for this entire series, and Gavin decided to join and asked if we wanted to take this as a book club pick, if everyone else is joining as well, and we said yes please. So we're starting this series. Everyone's been also raving about the finale of this, which just got released, so it's great to know that I could actually binge the series if I wanted to. Oh, I didn't even say what these are about. Let me just go back to the hat makers. This is about a family of hat makers, and they are great at what they're doing, and they also like put some magic into the hats that they make. And the story begins when the father of the protagonist, Cordelia, goes missing on a trip to get more supplies, and it's a mystery of like what happened to him, if she can find him, she can find out what happened to him. And it's also about like this rivalry with other families that are all makers. Yeah, there's like a whole mystery part of it. It's supposed to be very whimsical, very beautifully written, so like I said, hoping to get to this. And then Jade City, I don't even know much about it, to be honest. I think Jade gives people special abilities or like magic, and there's like a whole war going on because of it. I'm kind of going into this blind, but that's fine. Like I said, if I hear great things about it, I'm just gonna go in and see if it's for me. And the next book club that I have is, again, Patreon related. I'm a Patreon of Ashley's from A Frolic Through Fiction, and we decided... Sorry if the light or the angle changed. My battery died, so I had to charge it. I made myself a coffee because this is like the cutest cup ever. I got it for Christmas, and this looks just like my kitty. Isn't that so cute? I mean, it's not morning, but... Okay, not really sure where I stopped. I think it was with the book club pick for Ashley's Patreon's book club. And we have a bi-monthly book club. And since this time when we voted on books, 2 books were basically tied, we decided to do both of them. And since we have January and February to read them, I decided to take one of them into this month, and the other one, because that would be a reread, that will be a reread, I decided to put it off until February. Since I really enjoyed it the first time around, I'm gonna reread it in February. But the one that I want to read in January, and the one that I had on my shelves for quite some time, it seemed very daunting to me, so I never picked it up. And that's The Puppy War by R.F. Kuang. This sounds like a very dense high fantasy about a war. I don't know much else. I think it's about like a woman warrior getting sucked into all this politics. I think there's supposed to be a lot of politics in this series, so I actually enjoy that very much. So very happy to start with this. I mean, one of my goals is to continue with series, not start a ton of them, but that's fine. I mean, I'm never gonna stop starting great reviewed series or things that interest me, so I'm happy to get this started. I mean, it is a TBR vet at this point for me, so happy to get finally started on this. I do have the second one, and the third one is out, so I could binge it if I feel like it. So I might still get to do the goal of continuing series if I decide to go on with this series. Yeah, so this is for Ashley's book club. And then we have book club pick for a Patreon that I just joined, and that's for Steph from Steph Loves. And I really decided, it sounds stupid if I say on a whim, but it was kind of on a whim, to join her Patreon. I love her videos, I love her as a person. She seems so genuine and so nice, and I really wanted to just to support her, so I joined, I think like a week ago, I joined her Patreon. She plans on reading boyfriend material for her Patreon book club, and that's by Alexis Hall. It has been on my radar for the last year or so. I'm glad that all these Patreons picked books that I have been meaning to get to, so that I can finally pick those up. So very happy for that, and happy to be part of yeah, Steph's crew and joining her Patreon discussion about this book, about everything else that happens in her life, in our lives. So really happy about that. If you don't know about Patreon, that's just a way of supporting booktubers or other creators by giving them a little bit of money each month. You can choose how much. There are different tiers that correlate to different perks that you get each month, and it's just, for me, it's just a way to say thank you to all the great content that they put out, because it takes a lot of work and I really appreciate it. But also really I enjoyed so much last year to get to know Gavin and Ashley a lot more through these live shows or these discussions and this more personal aspect of booktube, and I can't wait to do that or to experience all of that with Steph as well. So thank you for having the Patreon and dedicating more of your time to these Patreons. And the last book of these 5 read-alongs that I want to mention today is The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. And I have to say, this is totally not even a cover buy because I didn't buy it. I have it as an ebook available, but just this cover, it's gorgeous and I can't wait to read it. It's an epic fantasy, so there is a read-along for this as well, and I just want to see with the first one if I like it, and if I do, then I can actually buy myself a copy. I mean, come on, who doesn't like a beautiful cover? But those are the 5 books that I am planning to read because of read-alongs and book clubs, and yeah, really happy with this selection and really happy to be part of the community. And then there are 5 books that, like I said, I picked from my TBR because they are on my mind right now. I need to read these. So the first one is I'm kind of embarrassed that I still haven't read this, and that's Crescent City by Sarah J Maas. And putting this tome on this TBR next to all the other huge books that I've already put on, because high fantasy, epic fantasy, they're not small, they're thick. So I mean, if you can see my tabs, I did start this already at some point. I think it's now 2 years ago. I got to page 244. I reached chapter 23. Never continued. I don't remember why I put this down. I do remember that I didn't enjoy it quite as much as her like just fantasy titles. This seems kind of urban fantasy-ish with a lot of supernatural elements. I think I went into this expecting something different. So I'm really happy to get back into it because I did enjoy it. I just didn't love it as much as I thought I would. So I'm hoping to get back into it and that I can actually read the first 250-ish pages rather quickly because I have read them before and I know what to expect. I did enjoy like the banter and the relationship between the protagonist and her love interest, and like I said, I heard great things about the rest of the book, so hoping to get to this in January because, of course, everybody knows the sequel is coming out in February. And I'm not sure if I will continue right away with the series, but like I said, continuation of series or just catching up with the series is a goal of mine this year, so this has stared at me from my shelves for a very long time and I just need to get to it. So yes. That would be like a success for me to just start off the year getting to this book, because I have another huge Sarah J Maas book that I've had since last February and I need to read it as well, and I'm hoping to get to that one in February, so hoping. The next book is a series continuation, Success, that the series I wanted to start a long time ago. I got the ebook a long time ago, started the ebook a long time ago, stopped reading the ebook because, I don't know, I didn't get into the ebook format at that time. Then I started the series adaptation on Prime, loved it. A long way of saying I'm reading the Expanse series by James S.A. Corey. This is the second one, Caliban's War. I read Leviathan Wakes in December and I loved it. I really enjoyed reading it because it is very similar to the adaptation. They did a very good job about like the whole plot points and the characters. First I was like, wow, I thought this was like perfectly adapted from the book. But later on I found that, of course, in the series you have to have these blow-up conflicts between the characters, and they focused more on that in the series than they did in the book. In the book I thought the relationships were a little subtler and a little more intricate and nicer and lovelier in the book than in the series. But I did enjoy the book very much, and that's why I want to continue this year with the series. Hoping to finish it in this year, but just continuing would be great. And this is, like I said, the second one. And since I binge watched the series again the last couple of weeks. I am quite far ahead from this plot, so I'm hoping that I can enjoy this again in a slower pace than just watching the series. And I'm kind of interested to see if they keep like sticking to the plot. And since I wanted to read more sci-fi this year, this is a great way to start, as well as the next one, because the next one is, I think it's categorized as sci-fi with fantastical elements, I think, and that's Iron Widow by Ziran J. Zhao. I'm sorry. I hope that's how you pronounce it. I've just heard everyone raving about this book. I saw it, I thought it would be interesting, I put it on my like want to read maybe at some point, forgot about it, didn't buy it at that point, and then I heard everybody raving about it. I heard everybody just loving this book. This, I think, could be a very solid science fiction novel, and again, I want to read more sci-fi, so I got this, really want to read this in January because of all the hype, and I don't want to lose the momentum of this hype, because it is something that would interest me, but it's not something from the plot or the characters that I would typically just pick up because of those aspects, if you know what I mean. This is, oh, again, I didn't tell you what all of these are about. Come on. It's because of the pause. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I only told you vaguely about this. This is actually an urban fantasy, like I said, with a mystery aspect. This is in a city where all of these supernatural beings live together. We follow a group of werewolves and their friend Bryce. Then something happens. There's like a murder happening, and she's trying to find out what happened, who's behind it, and everything else. And there is it's been a while since I read this. I think, yes, it's a fallen angel. Where is his name? Hunt. Is his name actually Hunt? That's just weird. Fallen angel Hunt is put at her side to find out what happened. She's not really, both of them are not really happy to have this other person being in their way. But yeah, they have to work together, and yeah, something, that's basically where I think I am at the point where I stopped them trying to find out what actually happened. Wow, I think that was just a very, again, vague summary. I'm sorry. Leviathan Wakes, the Expanse series, is a space opera. I think there are 8 or 9 books in this series. And in the space opera, there are 3 factions that we follow. We have Earth, we have Mars, and we have the Belters, which are the people that live on space stations or like little moons that aren't really like planets. And we follow a couple of characters that have been on a spaceship, like I think it's like a mining ship, and that gets blown up apparently by Mars, and that starts a whole war, intergalactic war, that these characters are quite literally thrown into by just escaping this first blast. Then I talked to you about Iron Widow, and like I said, this is sci-fi fantasy where there are these huge, I think, robots, and this seems to be again about a war going on with aliens that's already like raging, and there are these really big robots that have to be piloted in order to be able to defend against these aliens. And these giant robots get piloted by young men, and these pilots also have like a female co-pilot that are expected to also serve as a concubine, and they are expected to just die during battle. Nobody's really expecting them to survive. I'm not sure about this aspect. I'm really interested to see how that is shown in this book, because I'm not really sure, like, why do they die and not the men? Why, like, how is this concubine business put into it? Interested to see that. This book focuses on Zetian. She's 18 years old, and she's infiltrating these piloting teams because she wants to assassinate someone for a loss in her past, and she is thrown into the spotlight when she survives an attack to her robot that she's piloting. She becomes known as the Iron Widow because she survived, and everything else follows that moment. Because of the whole me not understanding how the aspect of being a concubine and how they survive, and it just seems very weird to me, just the synopsis of it, so I probably wouldn't have picked this up if not for all the raving reviews it gotten. Then we have a wintry, a polar fantasy-ish retelling type of story, and that's Hannah Witton's For the Wolf. I've heard, again, great things about this, and I think everyone was kind of surprised when this wasn't a retelling of Red Riding Hood, but rather of Beauty and the Beast, which I love. I'm very much a fan of Beauty and the Beast, of retellings, of seeing how some of the problematic aspects of the original story are translated into newer works. Again, I'm not really sure about any of the more detailed plot of this because I kind of want to go into it blind, but I do know it's about like a sacrifice to the wolf being like the beast of this story, and whatever happens when the sacrificial lamb basically gets to the wolf. I think this is the start of a series, hoping to catch up to this one so that I'm ready for the sequel coming out this year. If this is standalone, I'm not sure, but a lot of series getting started in January. I'm not mad about it, to be honest. I just want to catch up, take part in the hype of all of these books, and hopefully continue with the series as soon as the sequel comes out. And the last book I want to talk to you about today is the book that I received in my December Illumicrate box, and that's A Marvelous Light by Freya Marsk. Sorry about the glare, but it's a very beautiful edition. I mean, look at this. Look at the sprayed edges. Ooh, we match. Ooh. Sorry. Yeah, this is beautiful. This seems kind of like a Victorian age inspired world, and this follows someone who discovers that there is magic in the world and that he becomes a liaison to the secret society that keeps magic hidden from the rest of the population. He all of a sudden has to understand this whole world and be part of it, and I think it's maybe an enemies to lovers romance, a queer romance, so this just sounds cute, this sounds cozy, and I think this is perfect for the beginning of the year, just to read something where you just want to smile. This has, I think I'm hoping to get like the same kind of happy feelings as in Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I'm not sure if this is the vibe that I'm gonna get from this, but it just, I have a feeling. I will let you know. But that's it. Yeah, those are the 10 books that I wanted to mention today. I would like to prioritize the ones that have been on my TBR and that I've been meaning to get to, rather than the read-alongs. The read-alongs would be a great way for me to finally pick up some of these series that I've been meaning to get to, but wouldn't necessarily pick up on my own. But because I wouldn't pick them up based on my personal preferences, I'm not mad if I don't get to them. But again, just want to be part of the hype, want to see what all the hype is about, hoping to get to some of them. That's it for me. What are the books that you're planning to read the first month of this brand new year? And if I haven't said it before, because I can't really remember right now, Happy New Year. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to subscribe, I would be very grateful. And until next time, I wish you all the great reads. Bye!